Well, we are all in for a treat today. We have with us Alessa Caridi, and she is going to share with us some information on how to stay healthier. She's known as the Power Posture Pro and Workplace Health Interrupter, who is on a mission to transform how professionals move during their workday. I tell you, it's great conversation, and Alyssa will be sharing a lot of tips that will help us all to just stay healthier in the workplace.
Who knew what an impact, your posture makes to your health?
Right.
But I'm so excited to hear because just from reading her bio, I can't wait to hear what she has to say all about it.
Oh, yeah. And I tell you, even though many people are working remotely, she's going to offer some practical solutions to keep you healthy in the workplace. Today, you'll want to listen in.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Earrings Off. We want to invite you to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. You can find us on Facebook at Earrings Off Podcast and on Instagram at The Earrings Off Podcast.
Welcome to Earrings Off. We have with us today Alessa Caridi. Welcome to Earrings Off. We are so excited to have you with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk with you both.
Well, I tell you, we are going to jump right in. Your workplace dirty word is ergonomics.
Yes, you're
What's
jumping right
wrong
into
with the
that.
traditional approach to workplace comfort, and what's the alternative?
So the reason why I dislike that word so much is because everybody, it doesn't matter if it's work or anything, everybody is looking for the quick fix. And
Yeah,
when something is just labeled ergonomic, it's almost like they can charge 5 times the price for a little gadget that's supposed to help you sit up taller, or something that goes behind your back to support your back so that you can reduce body pain.
yeah,
And then what happens? You use it for a week, maybe a month, and it ends up in a drawer or like under a table. Or, if it's something bigger, like an ergonomic chair, it ends up like part of your closet, right? It never
yeah.
actually gets used. And then what happens is you go back to the original problem instead of actually taking on the root cause, which is really understanding your body, understanding your workspace, and how you can fit your workspace to fit your body. So we're not trying to get our bodies to fit into the desk, the chair desk tech relationship. We really want to make something that fits us because we only have one of them, and there's no trade-ins. We can't
Yeah,
upgrade things. So that's really why that word just kind of, it irks me. It just
yeah.
it just does something to me.
Well, I have to tell you, true confession, it irks me for a whole nother reason. I once had a
Yeah.
staff person who went through this whole thing about he had to have this special chair. And I
Mm.
cannot remember how much it cost. It was into the thousands.
Oh
As a
yeah.
matter of fact, my deputy came in and she was like, I cannot believe he is asking for this. And, we HR and all of that. So we purchased the chair. I tell you no lie, he might have used it maybe for a week or two. And that
Hmm.
was it. So it's
Yeah.
like you say, you buy this expensive equipment without trying to look deeper to see what's at the root of this issue.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And
yeah.
I've had that. I've worked with companies too. So back in the day, before, people like found me on social media, LinkedIn and like those kinds of things, the way that I got the word out of what I would do is I would have to do cold calls, and I would be calling HR companies. And there was one call that I will never forget. I just started really going into offices and really helping people
Hmm.
just change minds about workday health. And I was really on fire about this, and I was on a roll. And then all of a sudden it was like this company that I called it was in New York City. And they said, "Oh, thank you, but we're focusing on our health this year." And I said, "That's fantastic. So let me help you. I'll come
Yeah.
in. This is what I offer." "Oh, no, no, no. We decided to take half of our sitting desks out and put in standing desks. So that way people don't have back problems anymore." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Okay, listen, all I want you to do is just take down my phone number, take down my information, and in 6 months when people are complaining, just call me, because
Yeah.
sitting and standing have the same problems, just in opposite directions. And then they called me back 6 months later, and that was
Yeah.
one of my biggest contracts when I first started.
Wow. Yeah.
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 That's
That's so
Yeah.
amazing.
good. Yeah.
It's
I-
unfortunate,
oh yeah. But that's the
but
thing is,
that's really great for you.
but that's the problem, right? You put a price tag on something and they think, let me go take out something that we already have, right? This
Yeah.
office already had what their employees needed. Now, if they just learn to promote healthy living, promote moving, giving people options to stand and walk away from their
Yeah.
workspace, you wouldn't have to spend thousands of dollars replacing something that was already, very, very much usable.
But that's our culture. People want the
Hmm.
quick fix.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
They want the pill, they want something really fast. And
Yes.
yeah, so that's what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, so many professionals say they're just too busy for fitness. How has your minutes, not hours approach transformed the health of your highest achieving clients?
Well, so that the idea is that we have to think about the way that we are healthy living in the way that we think about our dieting. I think around the 2000s, we changed our mindset in what a quote unquote diet is,
Hmm.
right? You don't eat one meal a week to be healthy, one healthy meal a week and say, oh, I have a healthy diet.
Mm,
So we have to get away from that when it comes to our physical health, because just we're in this, let me just finish this. Let me just get through this. And then I will think about my mental health. Let me finish my work week, and then I will take care of my body and go on my long run on Saturday mornings with my running club. And so really we have to adjust the mindset to understand little bits of fitness are going to be the way to support your body, because just like we were talking about finding things that are ergonomic, right? If we can protect our body without the support of other things, then we can, engage and support our body better that way. But also the other idea here is that not all fitness has to be, a knockdown, drag out kind of
mhm.
wasting your
Yeah.
body
Yeah.
until you're
Yeah.
done. And really what ends up happening is when people enter their 40s and 50s, a lot of people can't even reach their arms above their head. They can't stretch down and touch their toes. And just we look at mobility as something to do
Yeah.
to like rehab. But in
Yeah.
all actuality, that's the kind of health and the support that our body needs,
Hmm.
not only as we're aging, right? Because everyone thinks, oh, that's what old people need. They just need to move around more. But really what it is keeping your blood flowing, keeping oxygen going to your organs, your
Yeah.
brain, right?
Yeah.
Keeping our digestion
Hmm.
moving. These
Yeah.
are all little things that really only take, anywhere from 30 seconds to 10 minutes
Yeah.
periodically throughout your day. And so that's why when you're doing these like little bits, these like health snacks, health interruptions, I've been called, people have called them a million different things to me. When you add these little bits in, you're not actually taking away from your workday. You're actually becoming more productive because it's giving your brain a break. It's getting your
Mhm.
body moving more, and you'll find things like the stress signals, the little things that your body does to tell you it's stressed out, will start to minimize and even eventually go away, because you'll
Yeah.
start craving the movement and you'll get ahead of those things. So your body will actually start to be able to kind of react to external stimuli better and keep you more productive.
I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah, I love that too. What do you think about wearables? So like the Fitbit tells you at 10 of every hour to move that you haven't moved in the hour. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the Aura Ring also does the same, similar thing. You can
Yeah.
set it
So
to.
so I teach, there's so many things out there. So like I got sent to try a productivity app game. So it like gamifies your productivity. And I was like, okay, let me like look at this. And it ended up being, it takes you away from your work. And it wasn't my mat. It wasn't good for anybody. For me, also, but just really, I didn't really understand it. But then there's the Pomodoro method. There's
Oh
a
yeah.
couple of different things that are kind like built in already into our psyche. And I think gamifying, especially after 2020, became like a big thing for people. So what I teach is the 50-10 ratio, 50-10 ratio, which is very similar to what like an Aura ring, or I mean, I have it on my watch too, on my Samsung watch. It'll do it for me as well. But for me, visually, I like to have just something sitting there that I can see, okay, like 20 more minutes before I move again. But the reason why I teach something like the 50-10 ratio is it in your mind, it usually takes about 20 minutes to really get into that state of flow, right? Like that really working,
Mhm.
you're getting things done kind of thing. And then by 50 minutes, if you're getting stuck on something, your body starts to have those little like, knee bouncing, chewing the pen, flicking your pen. You start to like rub your
Mhm.
shoulders, or you get too far into the computer where you start rubbing your eyes because you're just trying to get through it. So those kinds of reasons, those kinds of things are the reason why I teach the 50-10 ratio and really breaking up your day that way. And the Aura rings, those are great. Like that kind of support is like a healthy reminder
Mhm.
if you actually do use it. The reason I like something that sits on my desk is because then I can say, oh, okay, 20 more minutes. Okay, let me just finish this one last thing. And then, I mean, we can talk about how to schedule your day too, if you want to get into that. I don't
Mhm.
really want to jump ahead on you ladies, but
Mhm.
that's something that when I see my watch go off and it's like time to get up and move, sometimes I do it. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I can just finish this first, whereas
Mhm.
when I'm looking at my timer in front of me, that's what I find really helps better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Teresa and I talk a lot on this podcast about just encouraging people to not get overwhelmed, not trying to do too much at one time, to just get people to understand that you can start small, just start moving.
Yeah.
And don't be so hard on yourself. But people
Yes.
start comparing themselves to others or commercials or where they think they need to be,
Yes.
and they feel defeated, so they do nothing. And I love your earlier point about, people not being able, as we age, to lift their hands over their arms over their shoulders up. Because if you don't use it, you do lose it. And
Uh-huh.
that's what we
Yeah.
have to, that's the message that I want people to get. You have to
Yes.
keep moving.
Well,
Um,
and also to piggyback on that too, is you also have to give yourself a little bit of grace, right? So
yeah.
you have a meeting that runs, let's say it's supposed to only be 45 minutes and it goes to an hour and a half. Instead of saying to yourself, oh my God, I lost a half an hour. Say, you know what? I'm going to take 5 minutes. I'm going to get up. I'm going to go and refill
Yeah.
my water bottle, warm up my coffee that I didn't get to finish. And I'm going to walk the perimeter of my workspace 5 times. And then I'm going to sit back down again. Because
Yeah.
that, even just that like little bit, so that you're not, even though you're not working like in the 50-10 ratio that I suggest using, you're also allowing yourself to make it work for your day because you
Yeah.
don't want to give up. And then if you do have one of those days where you just have
Mhm.
to buckle up and there's just no way, you've got it, you have a deadline that's tight, it's 3 hours away, you just have to
Mhm.
get it through. I still say that you should take those breaks, but if you can't mentally handle that, then you have to be able to then start the next day and say, I'm going to do this now,
Right.
start fresh, and giving
Right.
yourself that
Right.
that
Right.
acceptance to be able to do that too.
So true.
Right.
Wipe the slate clean and keep
Yes.
moving forward. So, how
Yeah.
can proper posture have a real impactful effect on workday productivity?
Yeah, well, we were talking about getting your organs to, digested to work and everything. One of the big kind of not really spoken about issues when it comes to posture is that when you are in this hunched over, like that tech neck where
Hmm.
you take your tension in your head, neck, and shoulders, and you're getting closer to your tech, or you're like this on your phone and your face is in your phone and you're typing away with your thumbs and all the tension goes into your head, neck, and shoulders. What ends up happening as a side effect is the placement of your head ends up and your chin ends up dropping forward, and you end up in this kind of curled seated fetal position. And so what that signals to your brain, especially if you're holding that
Hmm.
position for many,
Hmm.
many minutes, 30
Hmm.
minutes trying to get your work done, it signals to your brain, oh, oh, it's nap time. This is what we do just before we go to
Mhm.
bed. We kind of curl up. We don't really move. We're in this chin dropped forward position where the shoulders are hunched forward and leaning forward. That also ends up closing your esophagus where you breathe. It actually closes it just a little bit, just enough so that you're slowing your breathing so the oxygen isn't getting to your brain with efficiency. And when you're in this position for a long period of time, your eyes start to fade, your focus is things aren't focusing. And it all stems from just not sitting your body up correctly, pressing your shoulders away, keeping both feet on the ground, properly reaching for your keyboard, keeping a safe distance from your screen. And so
Mhm.
that's like the big aha moment that I like to share with people, that
Oh, yeah.
it's not just about your shoulders hurting or your hip hurting, but you can actually put yourself to sleep if you're not sitting up correctly, that if
Mhm.
that makes sense. So that's like
That's
the
a
big thing.
that's a
It,
huge
it,
aha moment for
Yeah.
me.
isn't it amazing how your body can be sending signals to your brain?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we're responding to that and not really understanding what, what's happening and how
So
our brain is receiving this information, how our brain is reacting to what's happening to us physically.
yeah.
So
And the
yeah.
same thing happens, especially because we're in kind of a, not everybody has to be back at work, or some people are back in an office a couple of days a week. Some people they travel while they're working, like that's their new normal. And when those kinds of things happen, people are working from cafes, they're working
Mhm.
from lounges. And so what happens to our brain, talking about your brain and your body, like the signals getting crossed, when you're sitting at a cafe and you're working and you're eating your lunch while you're working, that goes your body, usually you would step away from your work and focus on your food. And so that then signals to your brain, okay, let me switch from having to think to actually focus on digestion and absorbing the minerals and the vitamins and the things that are in our healthy food. And then also, if you're going to work and you're in one of these more like loungy kind of co-working spaces, or even in your office space that they have like more loungy seating, people will sit on couches and put their knees up and their laptops on their knees, and that again is the same thing that signals to your brain, oh, this is relaxed time. And so you actually become less productive. And so
Mhm.
it goes in so many different directions. I gave a talk to a young women's group at a university 2-ish years ago. And one of the girls said, do you have any posture tips for when I'm working in bed? And I was like, yes, go sit at your desk, because that's really the only thing that I can tell you, is that you have to get it so that your brain says, in here I work, in here I sleep,
All right.
in here I eat. Like there
Yeah.
has to be, simplify it. Like don't make it overcomplicated for yourself. You want to succeed, make it as easy as
Yeah.
possible.
Excellent point. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about red car moments for
Oh
movement?
yeah.
Can you explain this concept and how it revolutionizes the way busy professionals think about fitness?
Sure. So, I mean, it's a little bit late in the day. So usually I would start this like in a morning kind of situation. So, today when I went to the grocery store, if you went to the grocery store today and I said, how many red cars did you see today? Yeah. And you'd say, oh, I don't know. Well, I was out on the road. I went to the grocery store. I did my shopping. I put my stuff in the cart, got home, came back in. But what if I said to you, okay, tomorrow when you go to the grocery store, on your way to and from the grocery store, I want you to count all of the red cars, because if you count all the red cars and you get back to me with a number, I'm going to give you $100 for every red car you see.
Mhm.
You'd count those red cars. Like that would be a like,
I know I
okay,
would, but that's just me.
exactly. Yeah. That I think everybody would be like, all right, I'm actively looking. I am scanning the road for the red cars.
Mhm.
And that's the way that we need to look and feel about our health, right? And this is going to sound so cheesy right now, but really our greatest
That's
wealth
not. I
is our
love
health.
that.
Oh,
I
Yes.
love
yeah.
that.
And so we have to start thinking like, okay, I have, this is another word that I really dislike, free time, right? When you're in between a phone call, while you're waiting for your lunch to reheat, you're doing like you sent a message to your boss and you want an update on something, and you just gotta have to kind of sit there and wait for something to come through, right? That's like the free time where you're not doing something.
Mhm.
Those should become your red car moments. Like, okay, wow, all right, I have 30 seconds here. I know I can do 15 squats in 30 seconds, or I'm waiting for the water to boil. I'm going to go march in place, high knees. I'm going to run, what do you call it? Back and forth, rock my body so that I can work on my balance, going up and down. Just things that you can do that don't take, 10 minutes to do, that don't make you sweaty. But then really, it's a lot. It's simple balance for your core, simple posture adjustments, things that you can do while you're waiting for that message or that email to come in that was promised to you, that you can then turn that free time into something that works for you. Because again, your greatest wealth is your health. I know it's so cheesy. It's just,
No, but it's
there's
so
no better way
true.
to say it.
It's so true.
It is so true. But
So,
that's a whole culture shift, right? Like if you're in a
Yeah.
professional environment, and you do that, somebody's gonna call you out,
Mhm.
right? What are
Yeah.
you doing, right?
Oh,
But
yeah.
I have to admit, I have a standing desk, and when I stand, I do move from side to side.
Yeah.
I do walk in place because there is this study that was done by NPR and Columbia University, I believe. It was called Body Electric. Are you familiar?
No, not of that one, but I
Yeah.
think I know where you're going. But yeah, I'll let you. Yeah.
Right, because they talked about if you're standing and you're not moving, it's the same as sitting,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Like you indicated earlier. So
Yeah.
you have to actually intentionally move your body. So
Yeah.
once I heard of the study, then I
And
started moving while I stood.
and that's great too. The few things that like a couple of touches on that. I know walking pads are really big for
mhm,
people.
Yeah.
mhm,
I have one. I can't work on it. That's just I can't walk slow enough that I can, move my mouse
mhm.
around
Yeah,
and click on
yeah.
things. And it just doesn't work for me. And all the studies say that if you walk, you'll lose 2.5 pounds more a month than people who don't. There's all these different
Mhm.
things. But honestly, it's not, I hate to use the word feasible, but it really, let me see if I can explain this better. So, when people bounce their knee or they twirl their pen
Mhm.
mindlessly or they're chewing on their pen mindlessly, what's actually happening when that is going on is that part of your brain is saying, okay, I'm self-soothing here. I'm taking away my focus from what I'm actually doing. And so what I found with myself when I was walking at this slow pace, I had to actually focus on walking slower than I would ever walk,
Mhm.
and I wasn't getting as much done because of that. I know that's like counterintuitive.
Yeah,
So the same thing. So even if you're not on a walking pad, just also there is value in quiet,
yeah.
in
Hmm.
a centered body that you are in control of, that's not bouncing, where you're holding onto your core and you're relaxing your shoulders down and there's no tension in your head or neck and you're working. So it's great that you move, but also find that balance so that the movement doesn't become your knee bounce or your pen chew, and,
Yeah,
and you do get stuff done. I hope that makes
Right.
yeah,
sense.
And it's the same as multitasking, really,
Yeah,
and which we know isn't good for us.
yeah,
right.
So
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
never be able to do that.
yeah.
First of all, I
yeah.
have two left feet and I probably hurt myself.
Oh, I'm sure there's probably a compilation of videos of people on walking pads wiping out somewhere on
Oh
the
yeah,
Yeah,
internet. That
I'm
I'm
is,
sure.
sure.
yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah, that
yeah,
would be me.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, your book is called The Ultimate Workspace Toolkit.
Hmm.
If you had to pick just one tool from that kit that every professional should master, what would it be and
Oh,
why?
that's a good question. I mean, I have to go with sitting correctly or standing correctly, whichever kind of
Mm,
workspace that you use. Only because, like, when was the last time that you actually learned how to sit, how to properly align your body? But 4 to 6 months, right? 4, 5, 6, 7 months old, that your
hmm.
parents kind of propped you up, and then
Yeah.
nobody actually really goes back and tells you, like, these are your sits bones, here's your spine, this is where your shoulder blades should be, this is your feet placement on the floor. So that's something that is a key here. Now, I'm not, I hate to like leave it with that, because I don't want you to become a statue, like an aligned, proper posture statue that says, like, you
Hmm.
have to hold this position, otherwise you're not going to get anything out of it. But really, it's whenever you start to feel pain, whenever you feel your focus slip, whenever your eyes start to get a little heavy and it's only, 9, 10 a.m., you've only been sitting at your computer for an hour, that the best thing to do is to just pull yourself together and draw attention to your actual body. Take your eyes and look down at your feet and make sure all 10 toes are forward, right? Because we really want to establish that brain body connection, and really looking at your foot to make sure all 10 toes are forward. And then your whole foot is pressed to the floor. So you're not rocking in or out. You have even pressure on your feet, and that will align your body all the way up. And of course, there's 6 steps on how to sit correctly and 6 steps on how to stand correctly in your workspace. They don't vary greatly. There's just like a
Mm.
little bit different for when you're standing. But that's really my biggest thing. And then, if you don't mind, if I give you a little bonus too, we
Yeah.
we stare at screens so much, like even beyond our workday. We
Mhm.
Netflix and binge. We're going. I mean, the amount there's not just billboards anymore. It's like digital billboards on the side
Yeah.
of the highways. When you're
Yeah.
walking in a mall, everything, it can't just be a sign. It's got to be something that like keeps rotating. It's just so overwhelming and you can't get away from the blue light. And that is also, I mean, we take that kind of for granted because we're always looking at that stuff. So when you move around, get yourself away from the screen. It's not enough to just say like I'm going to take a mental break and I'm going to just step away from my work for 5 minutes, even though sometimes that might be what you need. Maybe you need to journal a little bit or ask, write out
Hmm.
your ideas. But really take your eyes and look out a window and acknowledge the trees around you. And if you're not by a window and you're in a workspace, get a couple of pictures of your family, your favorite vacation, your dog, and just look at the picture on your desk and allow your brain to remember that situation. And so that way you're really going to take yourself away from this like tech. I mean,
Hmm.
all we do, I mean, from young age now, like everybody,
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
everyone is
Yeah.
just,
You're
you're looking
right.
at a screen.
Yeah.
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 Oh, wow. That's a
S-
great one. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that
Yeah.
with us. Alessa, it's been our delight to speak with you today, to have you with us here on Earrings Off. Do you have any parting information you want to share with our audience today?
Yeah, I mean, every week I share fitness moves that you can do that fit into your workspace within your workday, minutes at a time. I share that on social media, so on TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
Hmm.
And really, they're just under 5 minutes. Usually, it's a video that's 30 seconds that you can let play a couple of times, and you can
Okay.
do it out. You can write it down. In the book also, which is available on Amazon, and it goes through an entire schedule of things that you can do and you can build it out so it suits your needs and what really hurts and the pain points, and really addresses those things for you specifically. And really, I mean, connecting with me on LinkedIn, it would be like the best. Like
Okay.
honestly, that's where I am the most. Um, Instagram and TikTok, I'm there. It's just I feel more connected to my community that's
LinkedIn.
on LinkedIn. That's
Okay.
for sure. My website also jobufit.com. You can go and visit there. But any link that is on anything with my name on it will get you to my free mini course, which teaches you how to sit and stand correctly at your desk. So you don't even have to go and get the book. I mean, that's the book is really, it's got everything in there. You can take it with you and use it and use it and use it. But really, the best place to start is I have a mini course. It's a video on how to sit correctly, on how to stand correctly. It gives you a bonus stretch to de-stress session for your desk, has printables in there. I really just kind of wanted to throw everything like everything possible there so that you can have a strong foundation to then feel like, okay, I have at least the basics down so that I can go on with my day.
Wow. Sounds like a lot of great information. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing that with us. And we will certainly be encouraging our audience to find you on LinkedIn and to look you up and to connect with you. Thanks
Yeah,
so much
thank
for
you.
joining us here today on Earrings Off. Take good care.
Thank you.